What's up, y'all? It's KB. And I love movies. Hope everyone is having a good night. Happy Friday Eve if you're watching live. Thank you for coming back to the channel. If you're brand new here, welcome. We like to talk about movies. We like to have guests who love movies. We don't care how you love movies. And, we just welcome you in. So, for our purposes tonight, we have one half of Geeks and Flix podcast. He loves movies, so it's a perfect guest, whether it's talking movies, watching movies, reviewing movies, collecting movies. And it's kind of like a delayed matter of getting him on, because if you've been here before, you know the 5 takes, how I end it. And sometimes I'll hear a name and I'll be like, oh, and then I see a face and I'm like, wait, you look familiar. And then it just goes from there. So when I saw this name and I'm like, Nate, and then we were on Mega Mike's channel together, I was like, wait a minute, is this the guy? So I was like, I got to get this guy in. So I got to bring him in. We got Nate from Geeks and Flix.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. Very excited.
What is up, my man?
Oh, not much. Yeah, thanks for the intro. Yeah, definitely delayed. Also in the regards of like, we had the scheduling and my job is crazy. So like I work, I don't get my schedule till like 10 days before. And then some nights I work till 1 a.m. Sometimes I work in the morning. So yeah, it's great. But I'm happy I finally made it. Honestly, I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
Same here. This is the week of the delayed guests. We just need movies with Leo to make it a trifecta, but he will be on soon as well. But yeah, we're going to get right into it because I got a whole bunch of questions for you.
Okay.
And I always like to start with an icebreaker. Whether you know me or not, it's an icebreaker thing. And I'm going to go with the obvious one. So actually, I'm going to go with 2. So we'll start with the obvious one. We'll change the background, make it official.
Yeah.
Let's take you out for a minute. Let people see what yours is. Take me. You can see what mine is. So my first question is, we're both New Yorkers, native New Yorkers.
Yes.
How the hell does a kid from the Bronx become a Mets fan?
That is a fair and valid question. Absolutely. And it's not one that I haven't been asked. So as far as this goes, okay, so let me just start off with, I love sports. I love sports in general. I always tell people, as much as I love movies, I probably love sports as much. Like I will not go to a movie if there's like a playoff game that I have to watch. So I'm all in. As far as New York sports go, I am a New York sports fan. I'm a big Knicks fan. I'm a Rangers fan in hockey. Football, football. I do not like a New York team. Unfortunately, they're bad to me. I'm not a Giants fan. My dad, big Jets fan.
I was about to say it's usually like Mets, Jets, and then something else.
Yeah, and Yankees and Giants usually go together.
Where I am.
Yeah. So, but with the Mets, so yes, I was born in the Bronx. My mother, also born in the Bronx. My father from Brooklyn, and as a kid, as a kid, he was he grew up. Well, he grew up like what's now called Dumbo, like that area. That's where he grew up. It wasn't called that back then though, and so he was a baseball fan. He was not from the Bronx, and the Giants, of course, they went to San Francisco, and the Mets came in 62. He would have been 8 in 62. So like when he first got into baseball, that was the team. Yeah. And how it goes a lot of times with sports, when you're growing up with a dad or a mom, whatever, that loves sports, you go for the teams that they go for. And
until you're a teenager and you got to rebel against them.
Right. Which is what happened with football. I did not. It's like, I'm out of here. I'm not going through this. But the Mets, I stuck with the Mets. I love the Mets. They're, they are, they're not as horrible as other franchises. We've won 2 World Series. We've been a few times. It's not like we're not like the Cleveland Guardians who haven't been in 75 years or something crazy. You know what I mean? But yeah, it is weird because I was born in the Bronx, so I get that all the time. Oh, you're a Yankees fan, right? I'm like, no, I actually don't like the Yankees at all. Now, if they're playing a team I hate, I will root for the Yankees. Like, beat the Phillies.
Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yes, beat the Braves. I hate the Red Sox. Beat them.
Oh, definitely the Red Sox.
Yeah, but most other teams, no, I go for them. Tampa Bay Rays, I'm going Tampa. They're in my home state.
Yeah.
Got to. But yeah, I'm a diehard Mets fan. Absolutely love them.
Okay, I got a better icebreaker. I had to. You sent me the image with the hat, and I was like, the hell.
Why would he do this? Why would he put himself through this?
I do have a better icebreaker question.
Okay.
What made you start to go through what I assume is the Rolling Stones top 500 albums?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. So that is exactly what it is. I had the idea a while back, and life just sort of happened. And I know that they updated the list. And I like music. I wouldn't say I am like as into music as I am movies, but I like it. And I like mostly. I grew up on like a lot of hip hop. I like reggae, R&B, stuff like that. I really like 70s music because I grew up. My parents listened to a lot of 70s music, so I like disco. I like Bee Gees. I like soul. I like all that kind of stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let me branch. I need something where I could branch out because while I'm working, I usually have headphones in. So I'm either listening to podcasts or music. And I was like, I want to just listen to like albums that I will never have reached for. I will never have gone to. And I was like, this is the best way to do it. So I went to the Rolling Stones top 500 albums and literally just went from 500. And I don't know how long this is going to take. I usually can get to 3 or 4 during a shift, and then I give up. I stop because sometimes they're long and sometimes I don't like them.
Sometimes you need to absorb them too.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I listened to one of them was a Miranda Lambert album.
Yeah.
And it was a double. Yeah. And it was a double. I was like an hour and a half of country. And I listened to the whole thing. No skip. I do no skips, no matter what. Even if I don't like it, I listen. And it's been fun. I put little reviews. I'm not a music expert. I just put if I like it or not, pretty much. You know what I mean? I couldn't tell you. I've heard ones that I'm like, I know this is good, but I don't like it. So that happens. And I've gotten a lot of feedback. A lot of people have like messaged me like, oh, I love this album or, whatever. So it's opened it up a little bit to like other people besides just doing movie stuff. And it's been fun. So I think coming up, I got like a Kid Cudi album coming up. I got, I look ahead usually. So it's been fun. Some are in another language. Some are in English. Whatever.
What's the best one that you've come across so far?
Oh, so far, so I've given 2 10 out of 10s. I gave a 10 out of 10 to Boys to Men. Was the album 2? I think it was. It's amazing, top to bottom.
Yes,
fantastic. I also gave a 10 out of 10 to Selena. The Selena is like her last Spanish, because she did some English stuff.
Yes.
It's only like 10 songs. They're all perfect. I love them. Also, I gave a 9 out of 10 to a band called Rufus and Shaka Khan.
Yeah, tell me something good.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was that album was good. That's what was good. So yeah. And I heard Isley Brothers yesterday. That was great. So I've heard some great stuff, and the worst ones have been like, I heard some punk band called Suicide. I don't even know if you're allowed to say that name, but whatever. That's the name of the band, and it was like electronic punk music.
Yeah.
And I hated it. There's like a guy screaming like for like extended periods. I'm like, I can't get into this. So I didn't like that. Punk. Yeah. I wasn't into it. But it's been fun. It's been fun going through it.
I want to get into the movie stuff, but we are not alone. So I'm going to click over to the comments and see who's joining us. Thank you for everyone who's in the chat. If you have a question for Nate or me or the conversation itself, feel free to drop it in the chat. Shout out to all you lurkers and everyone on the rewatch. We appreciate you as well. Blah, 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 blah. If you want to do the thing, I'll just put it up there. Whatever.
Do it.
Yeah. Like it, subscribe it, blah, 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 blah. Yep. Let's see who's here. So we got really old movies. Young man, I want to have you on because
I was going to suggest
you
it.
are like the most fascinating person I've come across in the last 6 months. Easily.
I love Harrison. He's great.
This dude, yes, Harrison looks like he's 12. He's probably in his late 20s, if not 30.
He's in his 20s. He's a young guy. Yeah, he's a buddy of mine. He's young, but his soul is
old soul. Old soul.
Yeah.
And could school a couple of us on the classics. So we definitely need to have a conversation. And yeah, bring it in. Bring it in. We got Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music. I always like to take a pause when I say that, so I say it the right way. Good to see you, my man. We got Mama Blu-ray in the house. What's up, Bonnie? Good to see you. Benicio.
Hey.
Third time this week I'm hanging out with my brother. Good to see you as always. We got Tiana Loves Movies in the house. Hey to you, girl. We got, I always say it once, Tony Movie, Chappie, D9, Nell Blanca fan. Hey, guys.
What's up, Tony?
And then he says, hey, you. Good to see you.
What's up, buddy?
We got Steve from Excelsior Movie Reviews saying hello to all of us and everyone in the chat. Let's see. I think I love Mary Jane, movies and music all on the same level. That's a nice trifecta right there.
There you go.
And a great song by Rick James, if you don't know it. Let's see who else is in here. People saying hi to each other. Yeah, Tiana's in Canada, so she's a Blue Jays fan.
That's fair.
Because of her dad. I understand. T-Dot stand up. Yep. But I'll keep winning the division. I can't like your team.
Yeah.
Getting in the way. Except this year. Hello, first place. Let's see. Not much of a sports fan. Between the rivalry of the Angels and Dodgers where I live is insane. Yeah, that usually happens. I would say New Yorkers, we're civil about it.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to like other places. Like I've been to like Lincoln Field when the Eagles used to play there.
That's scary.
The fights in the stands by women. Women throwing hands. Like official, not like no.
Yeah.
No, like squared up.
Philly is no joke. And it's weird that the Dodgers and Angels have a rivalry because only one of those teams is good. It's like,
I know.
What's going on there? It's weird. And
they're not close to each other, but, they kind of cross. It's kind of like nice in college between Florida and USF. They're that way
not
too.
that close. Mm-hmm.
People saying hi, talking about the Blue Jays. Y'all could stop with that. Yeah. R.I.P. Selena, most beautiful Latina to walk the planet. Great documentary too, or biopic, I should say. A young J-Lo.
Yeah.
Good one. Okay, so Harrison is 26 going on 27. I will hit you up probably after spooky season. That is coming up first. Matter of fact, I might as well just pull that up while I'm talking about it. Yeah, man. We got spooky season coming up. And we're going to be just... I set this thing up so that I asked a whole bunch of people to just recommend me not 2 movies, but 2 spooky, creepy, horror, whatever, that go well together. And therein lies the challenge, because you could easily say, oh, Halloween 78 and the sequel. Great. But does it really go well together? Can you come up with a little variety on it? So I sent that out, and in between, we're still going to have the conversation. We're going to bring some new people in for the month. So it should be good. I'm looking forward to it. So definitely tune in. I'll probably have up shorts or videos almost every day and conversations as well. Can't wait for that one. Let's see. Anyone else in here? John Doe Juggalo. What's up, Jeff? Good evening, my friend.
Good evening.
All right. So what I like to do is, we know the 5 takes, but I like to ask about the 5 before the 5. So 5 questions. It never ends up being just 5. The chat always jumps in. They got something to say, so it ends up being more than that. Sweet. But 5 official questions. I like to tell people this is called the conversation, not the interview. So if we go off, it's because the conversation took us there. It happens. So, but we will start with a question.
Okay.
I mentioned before that the first time I heard of you guys was 2 years ago. Had our mutual friend, our buddy David from 4K Lowdown on my channel for spooky season. Um, Geeks and Flix, how long have you guys been doing your thing?
Okay, Geeks and Flix. So I've been working with Alex since 2021, I want to say. Maybe 2020. It might have started at the end of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I think it actually was October of 2020. I was not associated at all with I never even knew who he was. I actually had my own podcast that I had done for a few years to that point. And I was going through YouTube, and you start seeing all the same, YouTube channels and things like that. And he was doing a live stream with another David from Flickstock. He used to work with him, and
Mm-hmm.
they were doing a stream, and they had like a call-in line type thing. So they were talking about. I know it was October because it was about horror. It was about horror, like villains or something.
Okay.
And yeah, like who's your kind of Mount Rushmore of like horror villains, whatever. So I just called in and I was like, yeah, I got to talking with them a little bit. And then he hit me up afterward. He was like, hey, I don't know you, but you sound like you know what you're talking about. Would you be interested in coming on the show? And then I said, sure. And then I was like a guest. And then after that show, he was just like, hey, would you like to kind of just work together, moving forward?
Yeah.
And I was like, it was COVID time. My podcast we were having some issues because we recorded in person.
Mm-hmm.
Always at around, like, we sat at a table together. It was always together. And that didn't allow us to. And it became like this, like more satellite, I guess.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really working the same. The dynamic was different. And we kind of decided, like, maybe let's put the kibosh on it. And I was like, sure, I had the time, I was free. I wasn't doing the podcast anymore. And so that was it. And the rest was history. From there, we did the live streams. We didn't do anything pre-recorded at first. It was just lives.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started the Action Movie Guys podcast. So then that is every week. And then we started doing record. He always did recorded stuff. I didn't do recorded stuff. And eventually I was like, I like reviewing movies, and we didn't always get to do that on the live streams. So then that's when I started doing the out of theater reviews. So like 4 years coming up in October, I think, is how long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So recent.
Yeah.
So recently, talking about David, we were kind of like jumping in and out. After I left the live stream where we had like up to 10 people on the panel at once, people in a traffic jam in the green room trying to get in and whatnot. It felt like a telethon. Like, where's Jerry Lewis? It felt like we were doing a telethon and all we needed was like the leaderboard to show up and say, how are we doing? Look
we
at
needed Rich to take care of that.
Speak the man, he shows up. There he is.
We needed Rich to be like, all right, guys, Corey throw to him every once in a while and do it. But
so the great thing about that, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Turner Fan 77, half of the Faces for Radio podcast, did kind of like a little live stream with a couple of us. We were just jumping in and out, just hanging out, talking about recent movies and worst movies of the year and whatnot. But it was really to bring awareness for our buddy here, for David. So he's going through things, and he has a GoFundMe. I'll put the address in the chat. Maybe I'll even pin it to the top if I could figure that out. But if you want to help out, please do so. I like to say that, so far he's gotten a majority of his goal, but if you've ever dealt with cancer, you know that it's an ongoing thing. So give now, give later. If you can't give, you're not in that position, or you don't want to, spread the word. That's just as important as anything else. That's what I have to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But when he recommended, I think it was you or both of you, I was like, I gotta get these guys on the channel. And then I think you were on D-Ray's channel a couple times, right, for Steelbook?
I did. So I did 2 battles. Well, I did 3 battles actually on D-Ray's channel, and I was a judge one time on a battle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did. That's where I met Rich. Was we were judges together on one of the battles for D-Ray, and then I did a couple of battles over on D-Ray's channel. Yes, so yeah, I was over there.
One of the things I remember, we kind of went through like what we thought our top 5 of the year was.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring up yours.
Okay.
Don't mind if there's no like commas or anything. This is on the fly.
Yeah.
So you said Alien Romulus, Deadpool and Wolverine, Longlegs, Dune Part 2, Maxine.
Yes.
Although it's still your top 5, and how would you rank them?
You know, I jumped into that live stream pretty late. I got in pretty late because I was working the stupid football game, the Eagles and Packers game. So I had to work late. I jumped in. I got put on the spot. Now, I will stick by these. However, I will say, I just, and I see, I think Vinicio asked in the chat about The Substance. That might be in there now that I have seen that movie. I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. One of the most insane movies I've seen in a long time. I do like the director, though. I really like Revenge, her first film.
Yes.
And so I was looking forward to it for that. And then Demi Moore, I'm a 90s kid, so I love Demi Moore as well. And Margaret Qualley, I don't know as much. I've seen her in some things.
She's up and coming.
Yeah, but my goodness. So that might crack the top. And if I had to remove one, probably Deadpool and Wolverine. I loved it. I thought it was great. But, it's more, you kind of really know what you're going to get with that movie.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest, Doom Part 2 also a little bit, but the rest of them were more surprising to me. And a little more bold, a little more, unique in those regards. Romulus, maybe not, but the fact that it was good is surprising in its own right, in my opinion. So, yeah, I wouldn't, maybe The Substance for Deadpool Wolverine, but the rest I would leave.
Okay. What about ranking?
Oh, number 1, my favorite movie of the year so far. Honestly, I would probably say, I think Dune Part 2 is the best movie I have seen this year.
I agree.
As a total package. I'd feel comfortable putting that at number 1. I would put Dune Part 2. From there, for me, I would go Longlegs second.
Okay.
I thought it was fantastic. I would go Alien Romulus third. I would go Maxine fourth, and I would put The Substance fifth only because it's the newest one. Right. But in a month, it could move up.
You're still marinating on it.
Literally, yeah. Yes.
Thank you for allowing me to kind of delay. Someone else has a question.
Yeah. What's up, everyone? It's Turner Fan 77, and I have a quick question for Nate. And I want to know, Nate, why you love Sasquatch Sunset so damn much. Could you please explain that to everybody? That's my question.
This guy, what a funny guy. He, Rich, let me just, before I answer his question, let me just say, I love Rich. Great guy. Great guy. I mean, I rib him all the time, and he's a champ. He's a champ. And great guy. If you don't already follow him,
too. He can be a ball buster too.
Oh, yeah, look at this question he just asked. I mean, this is a silly question that he's asking. So yeah, Rich is my guy. I hated that movie. I still feel upset that because he picked that for the what's that show? By the Numbers. And I was like, sure, I'll watch it. And I had to rent it. And so I'd spend money on it in my house. And I was like, Rich, what do you got me watch? I'm literally, and I try not to do this. I'm watching a movie, I watch it. But I am texting him during the movie. What is this? What are you making me watch? Worst movie I've seen this year. By far. Is not close. It's I hated it. I actually hated it. And then he liked it. And it made me more upset. I was like, what are you talking about? It was a fun episode. I'll just say that. It was a good time.
What's up, Prince? Saying that
Prince,
Rich
what's
is
up?
silly.
He's a silly guy.
Good morning. Oh, man. Yeah, I had to get him on just to throw that in.
Have you seen that movie?
Okay, so there is a movie theater that I go to. It's like 35 minutes north of me, but it's truly a movie lover's paradise. Like the people who go there are movie lovers. They have Friday night horror throwbacks every week.
Love it.
Sometimes they'll do like a new movie and an old movie double feature just to premiere the new movie that's out that week, but also pair it with the old movie. It's kind of like a wine and cheese pairing, but for movies. It's really dope.
Awesome.
And they had it there, and I saw the poster, and I'm like, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. And the guy who's working the bar, because as soon as you walk in, there's a bar right there. He's like, oh no, we saw that at South by Southwest. It's great. It's great. And I was like, I don't trust you. So I didn't watch it yet. I'll eventually watch it just out of curiosity, but I got a lot of open stuff back here that I need to get to first.
I don't believe in telling people not to watch movies ever. Like, even if I hated it, you should watch it.
You should.
But I will tell you, I hated it, and I can give you a million reasons why, but Rich liked it. So, that's the thing about movies is, and apparently a lot of people enjoyed it. As far as critics, they liked it. I don't get it. And I know David didn't like it when we were on the show together. Like, he didn't like it either. But, it might speak to you with the grunts and the growls and the,
And sometimes, like I said before, you need to like sit on a movie. Maybe you have and you still hate it, but like in A Violent Nature, I walked out of there saying, okay, so now we know what that first person shooter angle looks like for Jason because we just watch it. And that's why it takes him so long. But then he probably just sits there and waits because the whole thing, for the most part, is from a first person perspective, like a video game. And I walked out of there just being overcritical and negative. And 3 days later, I'm still thinking about this stupid movie. And I'm like, that's a good thing. You're making me think. And then I think it started streaming somewhere, probably Plex or something. And I checked it out again. And I was like, I get this movie. I hated it before, but not to say it's like top 5 or anything, but I get it. I get it. Because how many movies do you see the whole thing from the killer's perspective?
Right. It's
and
unique.
It has one of the best kills I've seen, like top in Terrifier kind of level.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. I didn't love it either, but I didn't hate it. I was kind of middle on it, which is weird because the movies I tend to be sort of middle ground on are usually not the overly unique movies. Right. They tend to be the sort of, run of the mill,
the 3 stars, 2.5 stars.
Yeah. I'm like, I see that. This is not terrible. It's not great. And I still ended up here because there was so much I liked and so much that I didn't like that I ended up being right in the middle. Like how that could be divisive to audience. It literally split me in half where I was like, I love this. I love it. And then someone having like, I hate that. And but it's interesting, and I do want to watch it again one day. I do because I didn't hate it. I don't know if I'm going to buy it or not, but I would watch it again.
That's good.
Yeah.
Your partner in crime is here at a parent teachers conference.
Hopefully, it went good. I don't know.
Yeah, man, 2 conversations in a row this week. So I'm just getting them in where I can because, like I said, next month. Last year I did 31 conversations in 31 days. Shoot me.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Most of them being live.
Oh, that's a lot.
And the only, I would say 30 to be technical because it got to a point that same theater normally does something for Shocktober, movies all month. And they had a 3 movie marathon of John Carpenter movies. And it was 3 movies that I personally own, but I've never seen on the big screen. So The Fog, Christine, and The Thing.
Oof, what a triple feature.
Come on.
I would have skipped the conversation for that as well. I would have I would have been like, I'm going.
But what I did instead is I reached out to a bunch of people and say, what's your favorite Carpenter movie and why? Yeah. And then I just put together a collage, uploaded it while it was uploading, drove to the theater, got there, did a live shorts telling everybody to go watch it. Then I went and watched the 3 movies.
Beautiful.
But this year, I'm just going to try to fit in conversations where I can and just do like little short things, kind of summarizing each double feature as I watch it.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. What number are you up to on your Rolling Stones challenge?
The next album I listen to will be number 462 on the list. So I've listened to 38 albums.
You're getting there.
So far. I'm working my way through it. Yeah.
That's how I felt about Fall Guy and Furiosa. I felt the same way about Furiosa. Everyone's saying Furiosa is so great. I was in a pissed off mood when I watched it. And it was very hard not to do the comparison to Fury Road for me because it wasn't Tom Hardy. It wasn't Mel Gibson. It was from this female perspective, just like Fury Road. And I get it's 2, not characters, 2 different actresses. And it really felt more like Hemsworth movie than Anya Taylor-Joy's movie. And I felt kind of like, but everyone's like so great and technical and this and that. And I was like, you know what? I just need to watch it again. I'm going to pick it up. I'll watch it again. Fall Guy, I saw the screener before anyone else seen it. And I loved it because for me, it played like a love letter to stunt people. And the director being a former stuntman himself, I think it was just like the chef's kiss of how you would do a movie if you wanted to say, hey, we're stunt people. We're, as CGI becomes more prevalent, you want to thank us for getting you here. So especially
I thought the Fall Guy was movies. Yeah, I thought the Fall Guy, I felt like one of the few because every review I would see or like the people like Rich, like people I talked to, they were like, I didn't like it and I'm like, maybe I saw a different movie. I thought it was great. I love movies about movies. I love the leads. Yeah, and I thought it was I had a blast with it. So I'm right there with you on that one. I like
the only thing I was still critical about after seeing it again is that they truly did not have chemistry.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. It seemed forced, but it didn't take away from the movie for me.
Me neither.
All right.
And I wasn't there all the way for that anyway. But
no, that was like a side plot.
Yeah, exactly.
So 18-year-old Nate becomes a movie collector. We didn't even call it that back then. You just have a library of movies.
Yes.
With his brand new disposable income and his DVD player.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, almost, 20 years later? A lot has changed.
Yeah.
And take that off the screen. Boop. There we go. So a lot has changed. Formats, collection size, of course. What do you miss about back then? And what are you glad for today?
Oof, that's a great question. So you hit the nail on the head. 18, job, I'm working, I'm living at my
wife said
house.
Ask you what you were doing at 18. Were you working at a pharmacy or something?
No, I actually this is funny too because I just went on a trip up to Asheville and I was talking with I met Scott, Joe Joker's Movies, his name is on Instagram and stuff. We did a meetup and I'm talking with him about it and I'm like, listen, dude, I was in high school. I was essentially high school rich because I had an internship through my school with AT&T. I worked for AT&T. And when you are 17 and you have no bills, you live at your parents, you're in high school. And this is in 2004. So I was making like $12 an hour, which is not a lot now. But in 2004 money when you're 17, balling. So my dad had one rule. I had to save a certain amount each paycheck. After that, I'm free to do what I want. And that's when I started collecting DVDs. As far as what I miss, I do miss going, and I bought nothing online. I don't even know, like I didn't do any online shopping probably until like in my 30s, honestly. So I do miss one Circuit City. Was my go-to spot for movies. I never went to Best Buy. I always went to Circuit City. They had more obscure stuff I would find.
They always had like ridiculous deals too. It was like it went from being too expensive to what do you mean this is on clearance already?
I remember getting movies for like $2.99, $3.99 back then. New, sealed, not used movies.
Yeah.
I miss Circuit City. I loved Movie Stop back in the day. I wish they never went out of business. I wish GameStop never sold them to Hastings. What a mistake that was.
I remember that.
Yes, a great store. I missed that, and I do miss the prices. I'll be honest. I don't buy DVD anymore, but when I did, I miss getting stuff for so cheap without having to get it used. Pretty much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was never, and I still am not. I'm not a big like features guy, so I know a lot of times people are very nostalgic for DVD, like menus and features, and yeah, exactly. And I get it. I never really watched many of them. I used to watch sometimes like a behind the scenes thing, and then move
one
on.
time.
Yeah, one time. But I do miss the packaging. A lot of they have really cool packaging for DVD. Often they're starting to do it now, but it's boutique labels, and so it's like very pricey. Whereas the studios used to just do it themselves. Be like, here's Tremors in a worm from from who did Tremors? I don't even know. Universal. Here's a worm. So I do miss that about it. And then what was the second part?
Bad because now the studios have to put out their own boutique lines to compete. So now you got your Paramount Plus or Paramount Presents and
Paramount Presents, Warner Archive.
Yeah, Warner Archive. You got these offshoots because they realize the boutique labels are doing something special. But when they do it, it's pretty much just what they used to do with DVDs.
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss that more than anything. I miss packaging. I miss special features. I miss like not thinking about if this is going to have at the time a Blu-ray, a DVD. Now it's like you might get a 4K and that's it.
Yeah,
and
4K
even the titles. And the digital code, no Blu-ray.
Yeah, even the titles you would get. Like I distinctly remember walking into Circuit City and being like, "Man, there's this movie I used to watch when I was a kid with my cousin." Because I'm like, all my cousins are like older than me. I'm like, I used to watch this movie with my cousins, and these guys are fighting, and he's a high school. He's like, he works in a high school. And I couldn't remember, and I'm looking through the DVDs, and I pick it up, and I'm like, this is the movie that I was thinking of. It was Only the Strong. And you ever seen the movie Only the Strong? Yeah, they do capoeira, and I was like, this is it. This is the movie. And I find myself never doing that since Blu-ray and 4K came along.
Yeah, it's like you could Google it.
Yes, exactly.
You could Google it too.
Yeah, you can Google it, and they just don't like those movies. They have already been released. They don't really exist anymore. There's not many that I'm like, what was that movie? But it was such an adventure. There's a lack of adventure now. Movie shopping, in my opinion. Yeah.
The only thing I would say about today is, I would say like within the last 2 years, we're starting to get those stuck on DVD movies getting some love. So like I just brought this down. I had it upstairs talking about Paramount Presents.
Yeah, about
this was stuck on DVD. Yeah. I'm a big Scorsese guy. So this was the last one in his filmography besides like offshoots, like his stuff with Elia Kazan and commercials and stuff. So I have the whole filmography now. But this was stuck on DVD. Last year it was After Hours. That was a movie of his stuck on DVD. And it's nice to see them finally getting some love. But there's so many, tens of thousands of movies stuck on DVD. And it's licensing, it's music, Yeah. Go and find some VHS that somebody bootleg recorded Dario from MTV, because that's the only way you're going to get the music on there.
It's true. And I think too, it's the market, it's very different. Like,
of course,
look at, I'm 17, 18 years old. Those people still exist. The young people who are into movies like that, but because of streaming, they're not as inclined to purchase movies. So there's going to be movies that I truly believe they'll never make it to even Blu-ray. And the studios will be like, well, I don't think 100 people are going to buy it. Maybe 1,000 people. Like, it's going to cost more to print them than to sell them.
So we always do this. We say somebody has to be our sacrificial lamb. I need someone to go out and buy Splash, so Disney can announce that they're bringing it out, even though they haven't brought out anything from Touchstone in forever. I had a scratch on my copy of the 5 heartbeats. So I was like in we have half price books here, but we also have vintage stock, and there's like 11 of them in my neighborhood, within a half hour of 45-minute drive. And I found that, and I said, maybe if I buy it, I'll be the sacrificial lamb, and we'll get at least a Blu-ray of it, because like, to me, this is like a hood classic.
Yeah.
So
there'll be a blip. Hey, someone bought it. Maybe there's a market.
And I could see someone like, I don't know, maybe not Vinegar, but someone like a Kino or someone kind of low grade would do it, if not one of them. Harrison says, I miss video and DVD rental stores. Yeah.
Oh.
And I miss the mom and pops. We were talking about this last night. I had Daniel Sibner on it. I miss the mom and pops before the blockbusters, because all they wanted to know is, hey kid, don't go behind that red curtain.
Yep.
So I could get Slumber Party Massacre. Yeah, whatever. Don't tell your mother. Oh, go run to the store and get me 2 Lucy's before you take that movie out. Okay.
Deal.
Easy. I can do that. Perfect timing. We got Guy in the house, Caveman, saying, please hit the like button. Thank you, sir. I was just about to bring up your name for the next question. He was on last night. Happy birthday to you once again, Guy.
Oh,
and
happy birthday.
A question. He asked the guest last night, as a physical media collector, do you have a preference? Do you like steelbooks, slips, digibooks? I will add on to that and say, are you one of these people where it has to be perfect and pristine when you buy them new?
Oh, this is such a loaded question. This is a beautiful question. Thank you, Guy, for this question. And I apologize for this long answer, but the
diatribe, here it comes.
I have gone through phases in collecting. Okay. When you're asking me right now today. So if you notice right here, these are all steelbooks. These are all the way down to
I noticed that.
All steelbooks. Now, I used to buy every single steelbook that came out. Did not matter if I saw the movie, if I saw it had a steelbook release, I would buy it. And I was way early in the steelbook. Like, before I didn't even know anyone who had any when I started buying them. And I was super into it. I moved twice and I immediately got out of the steelbook game, because moving them is such a pain and a hassle, and they're heavy, and I'm not too as far as the pristine part, I'm not too worried about like a scratch or a dent. Like, it's mine. I plan to keep this as long as the disc is safe and it's not like, cracked in half. A little ding is not gonna be the end of my world. But man, I actually almost never buy steelbooks anymore. I will get it if it is the only option. So like, I just bought Body Double because there's literally no other release for it, and there might be one day, but I want it now.
Sony's doing the thing that Disney's doing, because I just did that last night too. They did that with Inside Out 2. The only way you could get it on 4K is to get that overpriced steelbook. But I got donated Amazon gift cards from HR, so it went to that.
Oh, that's the best. It was free. And then the other thing was like Stardust. I just got a 4K steelbook.
That was one stuck on DVD for a while.
Exactly. So if it is my only option and I am forced and I want the movie, I'll get a steelbook. So as far as packaging goes, I no longer prefer steelbook. I prefer, if something has a steelbook and like a regular edition, I will get the regular one 10 times out of 10. As far as slip covers, I know that's a big one. A lot of people with the slip covers or non-slip covers. If it's a new release and I have it, cool. If I go to buy it and it doesn't, or if I order it and it doesn't come with it, I'm not too concerned about it. I used to throw away my slip covers before, and this was before I didn't do YouTube, I didn't do nothing. I just bought movies, because I would throw away all the slip covers and make 5 more movies fit on the shelf. So I was like,
they being on YouTube makes you change the way you collect.
It does. It feels like you're going to get judged, even if no one sees it. Like, people are going to get mad at me for.
We'll talk about that in
a minute. So yeah, I used to throw them away. I don't do that anymore, but I'm not too concerned if it comes with it. And no, it doesn't have to be pristine, because I buy used. I like to trade in movies still. I have a bookstore. It's not a half price. It's like a local bookstore, but it's big and they have a big selection, and it's the closest thing I have to my days at Movie Stop. So I trade a lot. I sell to them, and then I get store credit, and I always get store credit, and I always get movies. And if it's, like if it has like a little sticker mark and whatever, if it's as long as the movie works, as long as when I get home I can put it in and watch.
You get a movie you want if you don't get it day one.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes you're just stuck like that.
Yeah. So I try not to sweat it. But yeah, if it comes like damaged or something really bad, then I don't want that. But a ding in a steelbook, I'm not too concerned about it.
Sorry for anyone who was here last night. I'm going to repeat a story. So I pre-ordered this. Not so much because I wanted a steelbook. I really like the cover and the art inside. So J cards or sometimes these lovely slips saying, hey, I want to be Lionsgate too. Sometimes they hide the problems inside. So I open it up and it's like four rocks. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm sitting there. My son is with me. He's like 27.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. So immediately I'm looking online. Of course, it's sold out because that's the thing these days. Pre-ordering steelbooks is just a way of getting one because if you really want it and you wait, you're not going to get it. So it's sold out. I'm pissed because not so much that it's like a thing that it's not pristine or, I'm like, I paid for this. I paid for this to be brand new. And if it's used, I don't care.
Right.
Scratches, whatever, like you said. And I'm going on. And out of his wisdom, he says, you know what, Dad? No one can see those dents when it's on your shelf. And I was like, damn you. You're so right. No one can see it. And I went like this. I opened it up and I looked at the disc right off the factory machine. I put it back on the spindle. I closed it up. I'm like, you're right. You're right. Because I was about to go and just order the Walmart one. It was like Saturday before it dropped. I was about to order the Walmart one and just walk in and pick it up. And I'm like, for what? For 4 dings on a cover under a slip that no one will see except me when I go to watch it. And guess what I'll be doing? Watching the movie.
Precisely. A very wise young man. He saved you some money, some time, and you got the same exact disc that anybody with a non-ding steelbook got. Yeah.
Shout out to you, Rye.
Sounds like a great
guy. I said it before. Every movie watcher is different.
Yeah.
There's people that only do theatricals. There's people who stream. They don't do physical, whatever it is. There's physical. But with that, it's like every collector is different too. You know, like you went through phases. You had your steel books at one point. Now, it's a little more variety, whatever.
Yeah.
Me personally, I cannot hate on someone who looks for that perfect slip or wants 2 covers or wants all the formats when something drops.
Yeah.
So while everyone has an opinion, to me, it's disconcerting that there's like hate and jealousy because to me, it's like this. It can't even just be like this. This is a stupid thing. I used to think, well, at the end of the day, we're just all watching movies, right? Wrong. There's people that will buy a bunch of these and fill up a Billy bookcase or 5 and be like, freaking Vanna White.
Right.
Just to say they have it. And if you ask them, so what does transfer look like? How are the special features? Oh, I didn't open it up yet. How many movies do you watch? I don't really have time for it. So there are collectors that just collect, like they're collecting Pokemon cards or artwork, which is cool. Right. I don't consider them a movie watcher, though.
Yeah, they may not be a movie lover, but they're a collector. They collect them. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah.
So while everyone has an opinion and everyone's a different collector, what do you think about the hate? Either toward you guys or even from you guys collectively? Because you've been critical of people.
Yes, I can only speak for me. But of course, it's I work. Alex, I know him personally. I've met him. I've been in his house. I've had dinner in his house. So like I know him, and he's an opinionated individual.
He's a ball buster too.
He's a ball buster. He's an opinionated individual. I mean, he has strong takes. and I respect it, just like I respect anyone else's about us or or what they do. As far as that goes, I believe, especially with collecting movies, I'm not in anyone's pocket. You is your money. If you decide to take your money that you earned from your job and buy 1,000 copies of the movie that I consider horrible, that's okay. That's your
Yeah.
money, and you can do that. I don't do I would I do it? No.
Right.
So there's definitely collectors who collect in a way that I would not. But I don't like it doesn't affect me that they do or if they do or don't. Now, if they, if we talk about it, if it comes up and they ask my opinion, I'll say I would never do that. But
Right.
I couldn't tell someone it's wrong to do that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Just like somebody can't look behind you and say, I wouldn't have bought all those steel books.
But there's plenty of people who wouldn't have. And especially I got movies that I just mentioned, I hadn't even seen most of them. Sight unseen, metal box, I'm buying it. And eventually I would watch it and I may not like it. And I am also the type that I will not keep a movie if I don't like it. I'm not one of those
That's
collectors
rare.
either. Yeah.
That's rare.
Like there's no
Unless
reason.
you're like tight on space, there's a lot of people that got a lot of stuff they don't like on their shelves.
Yes, I do like asking people about that. Speaking of like Rich, like I will always, he'll be like, I hate this movie. I'm like, well, why do you have it? And why do you have 3 copies of it? Like, if you hate it,
Yeah.
you know,
You're not going to watch it again.
yeah. If I'm not going to watch a movie again, I sell it or take it to the bookstore. But as far as that goes, yeah, as far as like hate, that is a word that,
You're a hater.
yeah, it gets thrown around a lot. You're a hater. And I'm like, I don't actually, I might have a thought on something and it might be different than yours. But I mean,
So
like,
that's just how society is right now with everything.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't agree with me, you're a hater.
Correct.
Which, I just feel like I'm 12 when I see or hear someone say that. But, I think, and who is it? Do you know Gizmo?
I'm not familiar.
Okay. So there's this guy named Gizmo. He pops in the chat and he is a certified button pusher.
Oh, okay.
And his thing is, if you have a site, like if he came in here and he had something to say, he wants to say, well, whatever movie, oh, you like The Substance? I hated it. And it's like the beginning of a debate. He's just playing devil's advocate because he wants you to be able to not really take on what he said, but defend your position. And most people can't do that because the thing about, and you get into this with your reviews, I could tell, you get into the film criticism of it. You get into the specifics of why you like or dislike a movie. The problem is most people are like, well, I just like it. Yeah. And it just goes back to what we were saying about different movie watchers.
Yeah.
It's like to me, not that you have to get all philosophical about your reasons about a movie, but if someone asks you why you like it, you should have something to, even if it's surface level. It made me laugh. It made me cry. I like the actors. Everything that director does, I have something positive to say. You need to be able to say something. But most people just like, you're challenging, you're trying to say, I don't have a right to like that movie or dislike that movie.
Yeah.
That's not always the case.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. One thing I do when I review a movie is always positive, negative. I start with what I liked and I finish with what I disliked. And if there's more that I dislike, then that section is longer, obviously. But it's true. Film, to me, and everyone watches movies different and enjoys them differently. For me, I grew up when I first started liking movies. And even to this day, my core kind of movie watching is I want to be entertained over anything. I live real life. So I don't always need the realism. Some people love that. They want that, like, I want that emotional. Emotional stuff happens in life, and I want to go to this thing and see stuff explode, and I want to see people fight, and I want to laugh, and I want to get scared. Yeah, I want. That's what I want. And then if on top of that there's artistry to it, oh, that's the icing on the cake. Now we're like, you're entertaining me. You're activating that part of my brain that's making me think while putting on a show. And I think that's why something like Dune 2 is so good, because it kind of hits all the quadrants.
Yeah.
And some people, they're like, look, I don't like that. I like cheap B movie slashers that look like they cost $5. And, you know,
there's an
and that's what I
audience for
like.
that.
Exactly.
There's an audience for that.
Exactly. And yeah, I've run into people all the time like, oh, why did you like it? Oh, because it was good. All right. What does that look like to you? Good. I enjoyed it. And you know, I like this actress. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I won't go beyond that. If that's what you got and you liked it,
level.
that's beautiful. But yeah, I to your point, I don't like when people are like, I don't mind people challenging. I love that, actually. Like, let's talk about it. Why didn't you like it?
Yeah.
But I just hate blanket statements. I hate when people are like, this movie's like awful. No one should watch. You didn't like it, but somebody does, right? So I always try to avoid that in my reviews too. I try to avoid using things like, this movie's horrible, this movie's bad. I will say, I thought this movie is terrible. I felt it was bad, because I'm not the master of movies. I'm not the universe telling everyone how they should feel. So,
talking about movie watching, we have one question here: thoughts on the current state of movie theaters, and some movies not doing well at the box office but doing well on streaming.
Tony with a good
audience.
Yeah, I'm a theater goer. When you had mentioned that earlier, when you're talking about some people only go to the movie, I'm a theater through and through. I happen to collect movies, but the one thing I love is seeing a movie in a theater. I always have, I always will. Yeah, that's my other church, right? Like, it's like, I will go 5 times in a week. I will, you said that 3 movie, that's beautiful. I'll sit in the theater for 8 hours. I'll watch 4 movies in a row. I love it. As far as the current state of movie theaters, I mean, I don't understand. I don't know if he just means financially. Obviously, it's a different time. A lot of people, COVID really affected, no matter what. I'm not saying it still affects, but what I'm saying is it shifted it in a way where it's permanently different now. Prices have gone up, value has gone down. And so I can understand a lot of people not wanting to go as much. There is alternatives like AMC A-List or Regal Unlimited. Or
I do AMC. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. And you get your money. If $13 is too much for one movie, 20 for a bunch of them is worth it. You know what I mean? So, as far as that goes, like the state of theaters, I mean, to me, it's still the best. It's still the best place to watch a movie. I don't really know. And not doing well at the box office. I mean, that's always been. There's some movies that catch on. There's some movies that are big hits. I think studios spend too much on certain things, and then they lose, and then they're surprised that they lost when they spent $300 million on something that no one wanted.
Yeah.
And then there's the reverse, where you might have something that costs 5, like Long Legs, low budget, great marketing, big profit, right? And it didn't make $100 million, but it didn't need to, because it cost so little. So,
and it's going to live on streaming and PVOD and all that.
And my feed on Instagram today is nothing but people showing their Long Legs on 4K, on Blu-ray, So it's some movies hit and some don't. Doing well on streaming, it's hard to know because they fudge the numbers. I feel like a lot of times they'll be like, "This got the most ever streams for a movie, that's rated R and that's 2 hours and 15 minutes." It's like, that's like so specific.
You're faking numbers.
Yeah, you made that up. No, that's not true.
Rich says, I think the studios trained the movie audiences to wait 60 or less days for it to be on VOD. Yeah, man, I come from the VHS days. I remember waiting a year plus for Crush Groove. So these 45-day windows, 60-day windows, and it's on VOD, and then it's like, as soon as it's on VOD, we're, as physical media collectors, we're like, so when is the 4K coming? Or whatever's coming out in the movies tomorrow, by the end of the day, we're going to have either confirm or rumors of the 4K release date. It's almost like the digital filmmaking aspect started to rush things.
Yes. I would agree. I remember seeing Titanic when I was a kid in the theater, and then seeing it again like 5 months later at the theater.
In the theater for 6 months.
Yeah, like it was there.
It ran into the summer season.
Yeah, and that now I can understand. I can understand studios. I think that should be a flexible rule, the window.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand studios being like, look, we put this movie on the theater. It made $11. Nobody saw it.
Right.
Let's throw it on streaming, because keeping it in the theater, we're going to pay for that space. We're paying to rent this theater from this theater. Why? Yeah. That I get. But when something's successful or good or could be, and then they're like, in 30 days, it's going to be on Peacock. It's going to be on Max. Like, then there's a large amount of people that are not going to go to the theater. Like, I'll watch it at home.
I think the last movie that was an example of quote unquote the way it used to be was Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, because it opened Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
And it stayed in theaters until October 29th, which was the Friday before November 1st when it came out on 4K and Blu-ray, whatever. But that whole summer, it reigned supreme, and that was the only way you could see it. Most important thing, if you limit the amount of ways people see something, the more they will kind of adhere to that way. Culture Trini, another New Yorker. Salute, my dude. What up?
What's up?
We got like Transformers 1, despite great word of mouth, it's a great Transformers movie, still didn't do well at the box office. The appeal is not there. The appeal is not there because it's animated. So now there's a question, is it for adults? Is it for kids? Can I take my kids? And those 3 questions I just rattled off there, already the person is checked out. The moviegoer parent / has already checked out. It's not
that's a movie
55.
Yeah, and I've heard it's really good. And I still haven't even seen it yet because I'm going to, and I'm like a diehard theater goer. But I agree with with everything you just said there. And to me, the trailers were not good. Like when it came out, I was like, that I don't want to see that. Then all of a sudden, the reviews were good. But the other thing is too, like a lot of people don't care about what critics say. Like critics can say it's good till they're blue in the face, unless a bunch of their friends tell them, "Hey, this movie's awesome."
I was just saying that last night. I said we really should lobby the studios to cut down on marketing and just, limited marketing, maybe a teaser trailer, not a 3 to 6 minute trailer, not Speak No Evil where the first and the second trailer basically tells you the movie.
Yeah.
And, you give it like an extra week in the theater and let that first week after the box office weekend be word of mouth. That's how you get your long legs. That's how you get your anyone but yous. That's how you get, as controversial as it is, it ends with us. More people went to see that after the first weekend because everybody was talking about it. Word of mouth was a form of marketing once upon a time. It's not anymore.
No, it's not. And I think, back to long legs, one of the things they did well is that I never saw a trailer for that movie. I didn't see one trailer in the theater. But the online, whoever was in charge of their marketing, knocked it out the park. Yeah, they knocked it out the park. Yeah. They, we play at some festivals. And, the problem with trailers, especially like theatrical, counting on that is if you already have a lot of people not going to the theater, they're not going to see that trailer anyway. So why spend $100 million putting Speak No Evil played in front of every movie I saw for like 2 months. I was sick of that trailer. I was like, if I see this trailer, I couldn't wait for it to come out, so I didn't have to watch a trailer anymore.
Same. It's like waiting for whatever happens after the first week in November. It's like, I just want the ads to go away. Yes. I don't care who you're voting for. It's like, I just want the ads to go away. You're annoying.
Exactly. And so it's like, why spend it there? Be more creative. There's ways to market your movie in a digital age that would really work better than just big billboards everywhere, hundreds of millions of dollars. Like people don't even look. They should be paying attention to the road.
Yeah.
So
I have one more before we get into the 5 takes, and I don't want you to take this as like me dropping a bomb. This is pure curiosity because I know.
Yes.
What happened to the Alex and Nate versus the film community live episode?
Okay, this is a great question, and it's not a drop. Don't worry, I'll answer anything. I
figured that out about you.
I'm a real guy. I'm a real dude.
I love that.
So
you're a stand-up kind of guy.
That's me. If people know me, if people talk with me, they'll know I'm a stand-up guy. I'll tell you the truth. So the thought process, things happen with that live stream. The initial thought process, it was me, it was Alex, it was Ben Buster as well. He was on the show. Shout out to Ben. That's my guy. The idea was, look, off air, I've always talked about this with people who will talk with me. I have met people via YouTube, via Instagram that I like quite a bit. I've recently met you. I think you're a great guy. I love chatting with you. Great. Met Rich, met David, and then I've met people who I don't click with, who I'm not, because that's life, right? Like everyone you meet, you're not. And so I never call myself part of the community. That word gets thrown around a lot. It gets thrown around on Instagram. It gets thrown around on YouTube. The community. And I'm like, well, I don't really consider myself part of it. If people are, like, if they do consider, that's beautiful. I don't really have a problem with it. But I've had too many experiences both ways to be like, yeah, rah, rooting and being like, this is great for everybody, because it's not. And Ben Buster had some things he wanted to get off his chest as well. His experiences, we have experiences with people. And I think a lot of people are scared to say when something's negative, if they had a negative experience. You know what I mean? We wanted to give a platform for that. Now, the stream itself, I feel like that's pretty much what we were conveying. However, someone did not agree with what we were conveying, and it led to a little kind of thing in the chat. And from there, Alex got triggered a little bit because he has his own personal issues with people, whoever it is, that I don't. You know what I mean? Like, we're two different people. So at the end of everything, I was kind of like, look, whoever was there live for it. I don't think we should leave it up. It's not particularly entertaining. To me, I'm like, what I want people to go back and watch again is entertainment. I don't have a problem personally with anything that we said. I don't, because we're individuals and we have a platform and we could share our experiences. Why not? Anyone can, and you should if you want to. But I didn't want it to be like people like something that represents the channel per se. So I was like, I think we should not leave it up. Not because I disagree with what we said, but whoever was there. That's who needed to hear it. If they weren't there, apparently I know someone made like a clip of it or something and sent it around. I don't really care. It is what it is. People are going to do what they do. I didn't lose any sleep over it. So it's, it's all good. But at the end of the day, I believe that you will interact with people in life that you really hit it off with, and you will interact with some that you don't. And that's okay. You don't have to force it because of a community. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't have to. You should be able to just do what you like with who you like, and that's it.
We have 3 comments here, and I'll speak to my perspective on that. Yeah. So Rich says, no matter how much you bust balls, it's always honest. Appreciate that.
I thank you.
Trini's favorite word, community, because the same thing. I think there is, I'm going to get to it in a minute. Hold up. I hate the word community. The town or city where you live in is your community. What we're doing is a fandom.
True.
Good comparison. This is how I see it. I see it as a word that people identify with. And like any other word that we come across, people change it over time. So if I want to look at my community as far as being a movie lover, I'm going to include the people I've had on the conversation, people who have invited me on their channels, people I follow. I have friends who are film critics that go from the schlocky B movies to the hoity-toity, lift your nose kind of thing. My whole perspective is, do something to me. Do me wrong. Until then, it's up to me if I rock with you or not. Yeah. But short of that, you're cool with me. I understand some of the people that I hang out with or friends with are cliquish or perceived to be cliquish. And the whole thing is, unless you get to know them, you'll find out they're not. Some people are, and I'll use this term because I used it earlier, some people are straight shooters. And that makes people butt hurt. They can't take a straight shooter, one way or the other. Some people are jealous. Some people kind of magnetize themselves to that jealousy.
Yep.
And the whole thing is, unless you go directly to that person, I feel like you're either with them or you're not. But your opinion is still your opinion.
Yep.
At the end of the day, there's people who've been on this channel I would never hang out with. I would never go see a movie with them. I would never have them over at my house. I love having people over. I have friends. Matter of fact, after this, 8:30, go to the Disconnected channel. Ryan is having his weekly Reconnected. He's been here. He's been here with his wife. I've been to his spot. And as far as like jealousy of collections or whatever, like you were saying before, you don't know how I make my bread. You don't know what I've been to get to this point.
Right.
You know, I know you guys had Tony on from Basement Blues.
Yeah.
People are mad jealous of him. You don't know what the man got through to get there.
Right.
A lot of people don't know he had to sell his whole collection just to keep food on the table. You know, but if I'm me and I've been through that, and now I got, like we were saying before, disposable income, I'm going to ball out.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that say, oh, you could buy like $40 Adidas. Why do you buy $200 Jordans? Because I can.
And I like those. I buy what I like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I may not buy a $200 Gucci belt, but I'll buy some Dunks because I like Dunks.
Exactly.
So the whole thing is, one, you don't know what people are going through. So you cannot be critical of them. You could have an opinion, but you cannot be critical of them. And you're not going to rock with everybody. You're not going to rock with everybody. I'm telling you, there's people that I've had on here and there's people who's in the chat all the time, and I love seeing them. They may not have been on the conversation. They may not want to be on the conversation, but you know, to them, they're a part of my community. Like it, don't like that word, come up with something different. I don't want to say family because that's like, once again, kind of leaning towards the clique aspect. And I'm like a chameleon since high school. I hung with the stoners, the athletes, the nerds, the geeks, because there's a difference.
Yeah.
You know, the girl hitting you up in the hallway saying, hey, have you listened to that song Horny Toad? You're a nerd. You're a music nerd. But the guy who's saying, oh my gosh, question 18 on the calculus test, wasn't that awesome? You're a geek.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a geek.
Or whatever the case is. So
it's
not for everyone.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I do subscribe, you know, like you mentioned, if you have your community, that's cool. Like I got my people. I just call them my people usually.
Yeah.
Like, that's my buddy. Some are not my friends because to me, it's like I haven't met you. You could be one way here and totally different somewhere else. But there are people I've met. I've met Harrison in person. I've met Rob, Big Knock, or Robert Makes the Cut is what he is on here. Yeah. I've hung out with him. I've hung out with Jay. I think you met Jay Manley.
Yeah.
I've hung out with him in New York Comic Con. I just recently hung out with Scott. Like I said, I hung out with Mega Mike. He came to Florida. We went to Disney together. Like, then you're my friend. I know you. I know you're not weird. You know what I mean? But other than that, I've met people I've worked with and I really enjoyed working with. And there's people who probably did not enjoy working with me. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, like that's life. I work with people now who are like, you're a bit much, you know, like you talk too loud. You talk too much. And that's
like
okay.
you said, this could be perceived as work. I heard you say that recently on a live or on a podcast. Yeah. And this could be perceived as work. You got to have that work attitude. It's not so much who's in the clique, who's not. I don't like that person because they rock with this person. It's really about the individual and how they treat you. Harrison adds to it. Talk about people that I rock with. Adrian James. He's in every chat. Him, Holland Oates is another one in every chat. Tiana in every chat. Mm-hmm. It's like almost like a support system. They don't have to be here. They might just be bored and clicking around looking for who's live. But I appreciate them. I appreciate them.
Same.
Harrison said, I think a lot of people still have their insecurities from when they were in school and haven't grown up. I agree with that every way.
Well said.
Every way.
Well said. And that's where it comes into, like, you don't know. We don't. How can we possibly know everyone on that level that you meet. You have Instagram. And this is a small number. I have like 930 followers. I don't know 930 people. So I don't even know who a lot of them are. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you know them personally? Maybe they were loners. Maybe they were, quiet. Maybe they had no friends. Maybe they had a ton of friends and things changed. And so
I have people that hit me up just to tell me what they picked up on Tuesday. And I'm like, okay.
Congrats.
Cool.
Yeah. What am I supposed to do with that? I don't know.
Nice.
I'm glad.
And it's almost like when that situation comes up, you're forcing me to choose. Am I supposed to be like rah-rah for you, stranger, on my computer screen? Or am I supposed to be jealous? Or I'm going to be like, oh, I really want that. No, that's not me. That's not me on a bad day.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool for you, my guy. Keep it moving. I don't know you from Adam.
Yeah, that's me all the way. And you could ask anyone who's ever DM'd me on Instagram. I always reply.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely consider myself a nice person, but sometimes people will disagree with that, and that's okay. I don't lose sleep over it because I don't know them. I don't know most of these people. Yeah, I'm a ball. I like to laugh. I like to have fun, and but I'm polite. I'm not rude. So it is what it is.
I gotta give some love to my man here.
Yeah.
Try to support everyone, but for some reason people just don't mess with me. I've heard people telling others not to talk to me, which is funny. I think that's downright hilarious. That's high school shit right there.
Exactly.
But Trini, since day one, I told you I rock with you. The fitted Yankees, all that. The background. His name is Trini because his parents are from Trinidad. Same here. So it's like we got those things in common. So I rock with the man. He may not have a YouTube channel and 50,000 followers and blah, 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 but that's not a requirement. Some people look at those other people and is like a state of jealousy. What are you jealous for? Hustle harder if that's what you're into. Hustle harder.
Exactly. And I don't really know him well. We follow each other. Everything I've seen from him, I like him, except the Yankee hat. But other than that, I like him. He seems like the person who, in real life, I'd hang out, like I'd go get some pizza with and talk movies. So I
drive a red stripe or something.
Yeah. So I like him as far as I know him. You know what I mean? He seems cool to me.
Yeah. All right, man. Enough of this. You ready for the 5 takes?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. 5 takes, the questions that we ask at the end of every conversation. We start as we always do with number 1. Name the film that made you fall in love with the movies.
All right, I hope I can cheat a little bit here. This wasn't the hard question.
Anybody who wants to freaking cheat. Go ahead.
Because there is 2 answers and for very distinct reasons. So it's a minor cheat. The movie that made me fall in love in general, sort of like with movie watching, it's going to be a weird one, but it's not weird to me. And that would be the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm taking you off full screen.
Okay.
You didn't watch the live stream last night?
No. I saw some, but I didn't get to this part.
Exact same answer from him last night. And I think this week was the first time I got that as an answer. I've gotten everything from The Godfather, Jaws, this, that. He also said Michael Jackson Thriller. But, he's 47. He was right in that age. He was a little young for it, but, But, okay, what about
my second movie? My second movie won't be as impressive. But, yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Look, kid from New York. I love the Turtles as characters. They're from New York. They live where I lived. My middle name is the same as one of the Turtles. I don't want people searching for me, but it's the same. I'm like, that's my guy. It could be any of them. I don't know. But so I grew up watching the cartoon. And then my parents, they're not movie people at all. Like, I don't love movies because of my parents. I love movies because of my grandmother. But they bought me and my sister a lot of tapes, VHS. And one that I had, or 2, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 and 2. But the first one was the one that, my earliest memories of just putting in a tape, watching it, rewinding it, and watching it again and rewinding it. I knew the Pizza Hut commercial. I still know it to this day. The song from the Pizza Hut commercial on the beginning of the tape. Yeah, the Suburban Commando trailer. I remember everything about it.
That was the first thing when you popped in the tape, right? Suburban
Yes.
Commando, the trailer for it.
Yes, and then there was a Pizza Hut commercial about the kid playing baseball, and then they all go to Pizza Hut afterward. It was that tie-in because they ate pizza in the movie. So that movie, I was like, man, I love this cartoon, and then look, they're real.
They're
real.
He
real,
was saying
and
the same thing.
Yeah, and I don't think I was too. It was kind of dark for a movie. Even now, I watch. I'm like, this is kind of dark for a PG movie. But again, my parents they don't care. They're like, oh, it's Ninja Turtles. He likes that.
Yeah.
So that's the movie that made me love movies. Now, there is a different movie that made me fall in love with the theater experience because I did not see that in the theater. And that movie, maybe not great. It's probably not going to be on the list for most people, but it was Batman Forever. Batman Forever is the first time that I remember. I remember going to see other movies at the theater. My mom, she would take me and my cousin. We saw like Home Alone 2 and Liar Liar and Ace Ventura. We saw all those movies. Yeah. But that one was the first time where we went to this theater, packed, sold out, tons of people, merchandise, posters, standees of Batman. We sat in the theater. It was all the way full, like all the way packed. The buzz, the noise. And I was like, this is how I want to watch every movie I watch. And the movie was irrelevant. I like that movie. I have nostalgia for it, but it's irrelevant. It could have been anything.
Experience.
It's the experience. And that is what made me fall in love with the theater going experience was Batman Forever. But the movie, it would be Ninja Turtles, the first one.
I like that. You're a great person, Nate. Always love chatting with you. Same.
Thank you, Tony.
Same. Thank you, T. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. She's coming on our show soon, Tiana.
Oh, Tiana?
Yeah, she's coming on. I can't wait.
Your middle name is Splinter. So that's the truth. He's
hitting
with one of the turtles. He's trying to throw us off.
He knows me.
Now it's Splinter.
He knows me. It's April. My middle name's April.
Oh, damn. I thought you were a Leslie.
No, April's me.
All right. Number 2, name 5 of your favorite films.
Okay. So, and this is going to be in no particular order except number 1, because my number 1 is my number 1. I would say, and I'll leave off Ninja Turtles, even though it would be, I'll make it as a 5B. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, one of my top 5 favorite films of all time. Dumb and Dumber is my favorite comedy movie of all time.
Good choice.
Yep. I will go with the original Halloween is my favorite horror movie of all time. Beauty and the Beast, funnily enough, the animated version. My favorite Disney film, my favorite animated film of all time. Another one I saw in the theater when I was a little kid. So, but love that movie. I think it's the best. Peak Disney. And my number 1 movie of all time it always will be Jurassic Park. It is what it is. I saw that at the theater. I was horrified. I was 6. I watched most of it buried in my mom's shoulder. I couldn't look. It's funny now. You show a kid that now, they're not scared. But, with the times being what they were in the early 90s, that was scary. Yeah. And horrified of it. And then over time, once I watched it and I was like, oh my God, this movie's amazing. How did I not watch it when I was 6? What a coward. And now I love it. I put that movie on anytime. If it's on, I'm watching it. I love the score. I listen to the score.
Let me see if this does the same thing to you it does to my son. Because there's about 10 years difference. But
this is classic sound. Everything about it is perfection to me. That's
the Velociraptor tapping.
Yeah.
Scared the crap out of him.
That movie to me is movie magic. That is movie.
Practical magic.
How old is it now? 31 years old.
Yeah.
Has better effects than movies I'm going to go see this year. I mean, it is what it is. It's movie magic and I love it so much.
Yeah. You and Tim Talks Talkies and Christy from In Love with Horror, the 3 of you.
Oh,
I might need to have a Jurassic Park panel and just have you guys on and
just let us gush over it.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Crazy. because he knows a lot of like fun facts. Because every book that's ever made, he's got a copy on it. So
nice.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun to just like moderate something like that for you guys.
I love
All
it.
right. Everyone's favorite question. Number 3, name a popular or classic movie that everybody loves, but you don't particularly like it.
Okay. This was the easy. This was the easy one.
This is the easy one. Okay.
Yeah, the next one is the one I had a tough time with. Okay. Here's I think you had someone on. I watched one of your I want to say maybe 2 or 3 ago, and I think this movie he picked it as like the movie that he loved movies for, one of them. But I cannot get into. I've tried twice, and I absolutely do not like it. 2001: A Space Odyssey. It does absolutely nothing for me. I saw it in IMAX. Okay, I watched it at home, and I was like, I hated that. And then I was like, but you know what? I love the theater. Maybe this will expand my mind on it. I saw it in IMAX. I had an intermission, everything. And then the intermission, I considered leaving because I was like, I know how this ends already.
Wow.
I don't know if this is going to change. And I just can't get into it. I can't get into it. And if I'm being honest, a lot of Kubrick, I'm not a fan. So that's one that I don't get it, but that's just me.
I have to make a video or something because I need to make a video of movies that it took me film school to appreciate. Because I hated Casablanca. I hated the fact that everybody just fawned over it like it was like a straight up romance movie. And I was like, ugh. And as much as I like Kubrick, by the time I saw 2001, I always say got when I came to a Kubrick movie. I got The Shining.
Yeah.
I got a lot of his other stuff. Eyes Wide Shut, I really like because, once again, hated it the first time, rewatched it, loved it. And in 2001, it took me film school, and it took me someone that I had to pay to explain it to me for me to appreciate it. Harold and Maude is another one.
I didn't like that movie either.
I didn't like it either until I took a film class and they were talking about it and Hal Ashby and all this stuff. Now I look at a Wes Anderson movie and I literally say Wes Anderson is the love child of Hal Ashby and the symmetry of a Stanley Kubrick movie.
I could see that. And I hate actually all his movies too, Wes Anderson. So I get in.
Then it makes sense.
Yeah, I get into a lot of arguments about Kubrick, that.
Yeah. No, once again,
not for me.
Opinion.
Yeah,
it's art.
I walked out of Asteroid City, and I don't walk out of theaters ever.
I still didn't see that yet.
Yeah, I left. I was like,
right there. Haven't watched it yet.
You might like it. If you like his other, it's very Wes Anderson-y. So it's like,
yeah,
he's a genre to himself, and he's not my genre.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the next one that's a hard one?
Yeah, I had a hard time thinking of this one.
All right. Number 4, name a critically hated movie that you love.
Okay. I had to literally, I like a lot of movies that are maybe not like, that wasn't the hard part, but I was trying to think of like movies that a lot of people, critics and like regular people that I talk to are like, I don't like that. And I was only able to come up with 2, really. I really enjoy Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch.
Me too.
I think, I mentioned earlier about film and movies and why I like them.
Yeah.
That is visually and audibly very stimulating to me. And I'm not trying to be a creep just because there's beautiful women, because there are, but just the way it's shot.
Not the focus.
Right. The way it's shot, the action scenes, the songs he picked for each action scene. I love the Bjork song in there, White Rabbit.
That point in the movie is just so good.
Oh, it's amazing. And I get it. Yeah, there's issues. Every movie has some issues. And there's issues with the story. Okay. I'm able to look past it and I'm like, I love that movie. And the only other one I could think of that I'm a big fan of is Terminator Salvation. I genuinely like that movie.
I went to see it in the theater. I thought it was okay. Got the Blu-ray, and it was when I first got my surround sound that I set up in my living room.
Oh, it's a great disc.
And I forgot to turn down my sub. And that scene where they started picking people up and the ship is floating over rocked my living room. And I was like, I think I like this movie.
I've turned the corner. Turned the corner.
That's all it took.
Well, first of all, it's a great disc, and it may never get a 4K, but that Blu-ray looks incredible even still.
You don't need more than that.
No, I think, and the Terminator 2 is, again, it was in my top 5. I wouldn't say the whole series is a favorite. I love the first 2, 3. I don't really care for, and the sequels, meh. But I think Salvation is a great idea.
It's a one-off. It's a great one-off.
I like the tone. I like Christian Bale. I think it's a good performance. I don't know what some people were talking about. Good action scenes. The R-rated version just slightly better. Like, I really dig that movie. So those are 2 that I know a lot of people don't like, but I'm into them.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm glad you took a while to come up with that, but you came up with a good one.
I had to.
That's a good one for sure.
Yeah.
Let me catch up in the chat.
Yes.
Batman Forever underrated, but the only thing I don't like is Two-Face. There's a
agree.
lot I don't like about it, but the one thing I like about it's not Batman and Robin. Hello.
Fair enough.
Dumb and Dumber. Yep.
Oh, listen, Rich. Yeah, me and him and David too. They both don't like. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with you guys. It's hilarious.
Pineapple Express. That's fun.
I like that movie,
especially with libations.
It's fun.
Yeah, first 2 Jurassic Parks are great. Dave Durant. One night he had a live stream where they watched Jurassic Park 3 3 times.
That's torture.
But he was pounding Smirnoff. I want to say caramels or whatever. Yeah. And every time I see him, or I see something referring to that, I just yell out, "Alan!"
Oh yeah, the raptor, Alan. That movie jumped the shark for me. I have a friend. Bad. I have a friend who likes it, and we watched it together.
A lot of people that do, but I think it's kind of like it's so bad it's good category.
Yeah, and I was like, "What?" There's a part where the cell phone is ringing from inside the dinosaur's stomach from a mile away, and the kid is like, "Hey, ding, 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 paint," and he knows I'm like, I can't even hear my phone when it's in the room.
Right?
How can you hear that thing? And I hate that.
I don't care if it's a Nokia. You can't hear it from that far away.
No. So I'm not a fan of 3 particularly.
Yeah. I could see a lot more people, especially in a certain age range. Late 20s to late 30s. That was the time for you right there, for sure.
They saw that in the theater. That's why.
Yeah. Great mix of practical effects. CGI still holds up today. Yeah, that 4K is pristine. It's beautiful. Yeah. Matter of fact, that was one of my son's favorite movies. He got me that for Father's Day a couple of years ago when it first dropped.
Oh, it's the best.
2001, good, but hot take, The Tree of Life is better. Ooh.
That's Tony. Hot take Tony. He only has hot takes. All his takes are hot takes. I love that guy. He's great.
Ooh.
Yeah. I also don't like Tree of Life, so I don't know.
Visually stunning. Visually stunning. And out of all of his films, that's the one I return to the most because it's just visually stunning. And if it has that family trauma thing in there too. So.
Oh, Terrence Malick. Oh, you mean like Terrence Malick movies?
Yeah.
Tree of Life?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it once. I don't remember it.
John Carter.
Well, Alex likes John Carter. That was a movie that was like a big bomb.
Is that his answer for number 4?
Yeah, John Carter.
Okay, so I have a film professor who is named after John Carter. So anything relating to that and Princess of Mars and all that stuff, he's into it.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I didn't go to see it. I'm not going to buy it. Can I borrow your copy? And he let me, I guess it was Blu-ray at the time. I don't think it got a 4K.
No.
And I watched it, and I've read the books. I used to be a big book nerd or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. But if it was like inspired by, but instead of trying to be an adaptation, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot better. Forget the haters. Terminator Salvation rules and is the second best Terminator movie since Judgment Day.
I'd say it's the best one since Judgment Day, but
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what the first best.
He probably likes Dark Fate or Genesis or something. That's Tony. Yeah. He likes one of them. I don't know which one, but he likes one of them.
See, B-level monster flick. There's an audience for it.
Yes.
Hellboy 2019. A lot of people hated it. Wait a minute.
Not my favorite. I didn't hate it, but it's not my favorite. It's not the Del Toro ones.
After 2, man, Del Toro put his foot in that one. It was so good.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
good. I want to thank everyone who was in the chat tonight, everyone on the rewatch. Once again, if you like what you see, leave a comment. If you got some comments about anything we said here, or if you have any idea for upcoming guests, please let us know. But I will land this plane like I always do. Now that you've been on Conversation, thank you again for coming on.
It was great.
Short time, long time coming.
Yes.
And I'm going to be down your way in November. So
hey,
I'll keep you updated.
Let me know. Sounds good.
All right. So we ended with number 5. Now you've been through it. Who would you like to see me have a conversation with on this channel?
The obvious answer is Alex. I would love to see Alex.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the obvious. I don't want to say that one. But he should come on when he gets a chance. Now, you actually took, I was going to suggest Harrison because I've never seen, I don't know if he was on here or not. And then you suggested him at the top. So you took my answer. I would love to see Harrison on here. I've been on his podcast. He's been on ours and I've been on his a couple times. We shared a meal together and we saw Fast and Furious X together. And I would love to see him here talking with you. And I want you to ask him, how was Fast and Furious X with Nate? And we saw it at the Chinese Theater out in Hollywood. So yeah, that's one question I want to know his answer to. Did he really like it or did he fake it? And I would love to see you talk with him. He got a knowledge of this old stuff like it's nobody's business.
I am curious of like who got him started on this. So definitely, and I will give you credit for it.
Yes,
because really he's already on the list.
Yes. And Harrison, don't answer in the chat about Fast X. You got to wait till you come on here.
Yeah, I'm going to skip over you if you put that in there. Let's see. That's all the response we need. We'll make it happen by the end of 2024.
Yeah.
My man, I want to thank you again for coming on. Thank you for hanging in there because I wasn't going to pull punches. I wasn't going to hold back because you're a New Yorker. You could take the hard stuff.
I almost was hoping you asked because if you didn't, I would be like, hey, well, I thought you were going to ask for sure about that. Like, this was the opportunity. No one else going to ask probably. So,
well, honestly, the reason why is because some people that got some of the hateration are friends of mine. And I said, I'm not going to not have somebody on because y'all don't get along or disagree or what have you.
Sure.
This is a very objective type of show.
Love it.
And the whole thing is I'm not having you on to talk about Geeks and Flix drama. I'm having you on because you're a movie lover. I could have spoken for another hour on just Jurassic Park alone. That's why we'll have a panel talking about Jurassic Park. But
yeah, I love it. And thank you for having me on. Thanks for asking. I had a blast, and I'd be down for whatever. And if you're ever down my way, let me know.
I will. I will be. I will be in that town I told you about before for Thanksgiving week. So
perfect.
If you're available, maybe after work or whatever.
Yeah.
Catch a happy hour, something.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm for it.
Everyone else, thank you again for joining us. Enjoy the song as we end because every time I play it, I get a copyright strike and I have to copy and paste something to say that it's legit. And I keep the information in my description and they still copyright strike me. So enjoy. What's the name of it? Oceanic Drift by Joystick because I'm going to get copyright stricken for it. So hope everyone have a good night. Join us next week. Spooky season starts on October 1st. I'll start with my double feature reviews of everyone that sent me in. Thank you for everyone who's submitted the double features that I will be watching throughout October. It's going to be fun. It's a little bit different than last year, but I want every year to be different. And you might as well start suggesting what I should do for 2025 spooky season because no time like the present. Have a good night, everyone. Go watch a movie.